Welcome back, my name is Sam, and today we need to talk about the team that is currently sitting at the absolute bottom of Formula One, Aston Martin. If you watched the Spanish Grand Prix, you saw what happened. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll qualified last and second to last. And they were over 4 seconds off the pace. Both cars retired from the race. It was a complete disaster, and Mike Crack even had to issue a public apology to the fans who bought tickets to see them. But here is the thing, that disaster in Barcelona, that was always part of the plan. To understand what is actually happening at Aston Martin right now, you have to stop looking at the results on track and start looking at what is happening back at the factory in Silverstone. Because while every other team on the grid has been bringing upgrades to their cars over the first 7 races, Aston Martin has brought absolutely nothing. 0 new parts. Ferrari brought 8 change components to Barcelona alone. Aston Martin brought 0. And that is not because they do not have the money, and it is not because they do not know how to build them. It is because Adrian Newey told them to stop. When Newey arrived at Aston Martin as team principal, he looked at the AMR 26 and realised it was fundamentally flawed. The car was rushed for the start of the season. Newey himself admitted that the design only came together at the last minute, and he estimated the team was about 4 months behind everyone else in development. The aerodynamics were wrong, the suspension was wrong, the energy deployment from the Honda power unit was wrong, and the weight was too high. There was no single thing to fix. The entire concept needed to be rethought. So instead of trying to patch a broken car with small updates every few weeks, he made a massive strategic call. He halted all development on the current car. He told the team to endure the short-term pain, take the hits on track, and focus entirely on building a completely new car for the second half of the season. That new car is the AMR 26B, and inside the paddock, they're calling it the Beast Pack. This is not just a new front wing or a different floor. This is essentially a brand new car built on the current platform. It features a completely revised aerodynamic concept, an all-new suspension setup designed by Newey himself, and a significant weight reduction across the entire car. Those 3 things alone would represent a major step forward, but the biggest change is coming from the back of the car. Honda is bringing a massive power unit upgrade using the FIA's ADUO system. Honda has been granted the most upgrade tokens of any manufacturer under that system, which tells you everything about how far behind they currently are. Right now, Lance Stroll estimates they are down about 30 to 40 horsepower compared to the top teams, while other sources in the paddock suggest the deficit could be as high as 100 horsepower. That is an enormous gap. And Honda is throwing everything at closing it. The target for this entire package, 2 seconds per lap. If they can actually find 2 seconds, that does not just move them into the midfield. That puts them right back in the fight at the front. 2 seconds is the difference between last on the grid and fighting for points every single weekend. So, when is this Beast Pack actually arriving? That is the million-dollar question, and the honest answer is that nobody knows for certain. Newey himself confirmed in Monaco that he has been working away on the update and that it will be ready just before the summer break. Lance Stroll was a bit more specific, suggesting it will arrive at Spa or possibly Zandvoort right after the break. The Belgian Grand Prix in mid-July is the most likely target, but the reality is that the timeline depends entirely on Honda. If the engine upgrade is not ready for Belgium, the entire package will be delayed until the Dutch Grand Prix in late August. Pedro de la Rosa was even more cautious, saying the significant upgrades would not arrive until before or after the summer break. So the window is somewhere between Spa and Zandvoort, and the team is hoping Honda can hit the earlier date. This explains why the drivers have been so brutally honest about the current car. Fernando Alonso has not held back at all. In Barcelona, he flat out said they have the worst engine on the grid, poor energy deployment, gearbox problems, and aerodynamic problems. He said the team repeats the same thing every single weekend, and that it is exhausting. He knows exactly what is wrong with the car, and he knows there is nothing he can do about it until the new package arrives. But he also said they are just waiting for the second half of the season, hoping that when the new car arrives, they can finally give the fans something to cheer about. For Alonso, this upgrade is everything. He is 44 years old. He admitted in Barcelona that this was probably his last home race in Formula One. The circuit does not appear on the calendar again until 2028, and Alonso knows he will almost certainly not be racing by then. But he also left the door open, saying that if the car is not competitive this year, he might stay for one more season just to try and end his career on a high note. If the AMR 26B delivers and Aston Martin becomes genuinely competitive in the second half of the season, Alonso stays and fights. If it fails, one of the greatest drivers in the history of the sport is likely walking away for good. Lance Stroll is in a similar position of waiting. When he was asked about his future with the team beyond 2026, he refused to commit, saying he is only focused on the short term. He knows the current car is nowhere near good enough, but he also knows what is coming. He pointed out that they finally fixed the severe vibration issues that had been affecting both drivers physically since the start of the season. That was solved in Miami, and it was the first real sign of progress. But now, they need to find a massive amount of downforce and power, and that is exactly what the Beast Pack is supposed to deliver. And then there is Lawrence Stroll, the man who has poured hundreds of millions of dollars into this project. He built one of the most advanced Formula One factories in the world, right there in Silverstone. He brought in Honda as a full works partner, making Aston Martin a genuine manufacturer team for the first time. He hired Enrico Cardilli, who was one of the key technical minds behind Ferrari's recent success, and he managed to convince Adrian Newey, the most successful car designer in the history of Formula One, to leave retirement and take over the entire technical operation. Lawrence Stroll has done everything a team owner can possibly do to build a championship-winning team. He has spent the money, hired the people, and built the infrastructure. But right now, he is having to learn the hardest lesson in Formula One. You cannot buy time. Aston Martin is currently enduring the darkest period of their entire project. They are dead last in the Constructors' Championship. They are slow and they are breaking down. But Pedro de la Rosa, the team ambassador who worked with Newey at McLaren over 2 decades ago, summed up the situation perfectly. He said that while they are not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel just yet, the work ethic inside the factory is outstanding. He described Newey as working flat out, always listening to the drivers, and doing what he has always done throughout his career: delivering. De La Rosa said he sees no difference in Newey compared to the man he worked with at McLaren. The same focus, the same attention to detail, the same ability to turn a driver's feedback into a faster car. The next few races are going to be brutal for Aston Martin. Austria is a power circuit, which means the Honda deficit will hurt them even more than usual. Silverstone will be emotional for the team, racing at their home track while sitting last in the championship. Hungary will be another difficult weekend. But if Adrian Newey and Honda can actually deliver this Beast Pack upgrade by Spa or Zandvoort, the entire narrative of this season could flip on its head. 2 seconds of improvement would transform this team overnight. And with the talent they have, the factory they have built, and the resources Lawrence Stroll is willing to commit, there is no reason to think they cannot do it. The question is not whether Aston Martin can eventually be competitive. The question is whether they can do it fast enough to save this season and fast enough to keep Fernando Alonso in the car. What do you think? Can Adrian Newey actually find 2 seconds of pace with a mid-season upgrade? Or is the 2026 season already a write-off for Aston Martin? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more F1 content. I'm Sam, and I will see you in the next one.